Oh, hey, you're back. Well, welcome back. Give me just a second here. Good to have you back. Now, we got lots done. Here, I was just kind of working on my cannons here, so let me show you what else I've been working on here and what we've gotten done. So, yeah, we'll talk about cannons later, right? So, here we go. We'll straighten this back out for you. Right? Okay. Yeah, give me a minute. I'm going to clean off the bench here a little bit, and I'll get back to you. We'll show you what kind of problems I've run into, and what you should be looking for if you're building this ship. So, give me a second. I'll be right back. Okay, so, yeah, gotten lots done. Probably a lot more than I said I was going to do. And I've gotten other stuff done, but we'll leave that for the next video. I'll give you a quick showing of what I've done and what's coming up. Now, I'm going to take all these cannons off. I've got all the cannon work done. I just have to install them, you know, and put all the rigging down where it should be. But all the cannons are done, ready to go. Other than I got to put some wedges in on the back here, you know, so you can, the wedges change your elevation. I didn't want to glue them in prematurely and end up, you know, hitting a wall or something, right? Because they're in the wrong spot. So I'll put, as I install them, I'll put the wedges in. Not a big deal. Also, side ones here ready to go. I gotta touch a few of them up, but that's okay. The paint is easy enough to do. Then we get all those off to the side. Now, yes, I've got all these rub rails on. How do I show you this here? Make sure I don't snap off any other cannons. Yeah, okay, on the other side we're good. Okay, so, I've got all these rub rails on, right? And they weren't too bad to do. As you saw, you know, I got all the ones all the way across here, right? All the way across on both sides are done. Now I've also got these two uprights. With the uprights, I'll show you on the PDF after, but with the uprights, they tell you the first measurement where it has to go, all right? And which is fine and dandy, right? They give you one like for here and one for down here, which is fine. But then they don't tell you where this one needs to go, all right? There's one here. And secondly, they don't tell you how to shape them. You really got to study the pictures, and a lot of the pictures go through the whole thing, right? And yeah, you'll figure out that they're rounded at the top and the bottom, and where they stop exactly, because they don't tell you. The measurement they give you for the length of this puts you past the bottom here, right? But yet in the pictures it shows that it stops on the bottom side of this rail. So whatever, what I did is I even modified this measurement here to make it look right and to match kind of what they have where their nails are, right? So you can do what you want there, but I changed this measurement. I basically just started eyeballing it. It works out that if you draw a line where your nails are supposed to be, I've got 10 mil from where the center of the nails to the center of this, right? And then same thing here is another row of nails, so I went 10 millimeter over, and everything seems to work out nicely. Now, same thing on the front one, right? There's one on the front, and it's the same thing. I don't even think they give you a measurement of where it's supposed to be. It just says put it there. Yeah, there's no measurement whatsoever. And even going through the instructions, the written instructions, the 10 paragraphs that they have there, there is nothing whatsoever about this one here. So just kind of eyeballing it from what they have, and you know, the pictures and stuff. I went, I think it was 20 mil. Yeah, 20 mil from the front edge, right? And then I put it there, so you know both sides are the same. And again, it stops at the bottom of this rail and stops at the top here, because you get your cap rail here. So that's something to look to. As far as the ladder steps, some of them I kind of moved around. They wanted this top one here to be on top of this little rail, and I mean it sticks out way so far, but I figured why not put above it and use it as a, you know, use this rail as another step rail, right? This one is on that one because that's where they wanted it, but I actually wanted it down further, which I'll show you on the other side. Now, of course, you can see that I've got the medallions on here. You do have to cut this upper rail to relief for these porthole medallions, right? So you got to do that on both sides. Now these ones, because the ship is so curved, they do not like to sit down. So you can figure out a different way if you wanted to, but these things don't bend, they break. Okay, so don't try to bend them unless you're intending to do what I did. This one here, it wasn't too bad. It's still sitting up in a lot of places, down here mainly and up here, but it seems to sit flat across this way, so I left that one alone. But if we go to the other side, all right, okay, it's sitting there. Now, as you can see, I put this one here, this step lower. This one's on there, which is fine. This one I put on the top. Again, I cut the reliefs here. Well, the three of them anyways. I got the three bars here. And yeah, so what I ended up doing with these, with most of these, is, again, they don't bend. But what I did was gently break them. You're kind of saying, well, what do you mean gently break them? Well, the first one was a little violent. I hit it a little too hard. I put it in one of my little bench vices, right? And I tapped on it with a chunk of wood, you know, just a plain old chunk of wood. And the first one I broke completely into two pieces right across, right? And that helped relieve the curvature. And really you can't see the cracks, and by the time you paint this thing, because you got to paint the whole thing, it's going to fill all those little cracks in that you'll never see it. All right, now as I went though, I got to the point where when I was trying to break them off, instead of breaking them, I put my finger behind it, and as I tapped it, as soon as I felt it break free just a little bit, that's when I stopped. So it was still somewhat together, so you got to be gentle. Put my super glue on, and it helped with the curvature. Now these ones didn't need that, just these ones down here. All right, now there is two on the stern that, of course, you don't have to do that because it's a complete flat surface. So just something to be aware of, that these will not sit flat. They will rock back and forth, of course, to the curvature of the ship. All right. What else did we do? Okay, I also, let me turn this back around, it's easier to camera on this side. We've got the bowsprit support on, I guess, if that's what you want to call it. So that is glued into place. Make sure that you stay in your center line, right? And yeah, everything should work out fine. Now, Again, I'll show you on the PDF after what I'm talking about, but numbers P8 and P9, P10 isn't bad, but let's see if I can zoom in here for you. Alright, so P8 is this one right here, okay? It's got this little curve to it, sits against the keel and everything. Now, P8, they don't show a very clear picture of where this should go, or even what it looks like. So you just got to go searching to see what P8 is. Once you find it, which took me a few minutes, once you find it, then it's like it doesn't show you completely clearly where this thing needs to go. All right, so you got to go searching your pictures once again and kind of compile all your pictures together and go, here's a little bit of it, here's a little bit of it, and okay, this is where it's got to sit. So, to show you, if I can, it sits right at the bottom of these ribs here, right? Sits right at the bottom of it, comes up to this spot here, and again, as you can see the shape of it, right? It's got a 90 at one side, and it curves here, right? And it also sits against the top of this rail. Okay, so if you're doing that, it sits against the top of that rail, against the bow, and it sits just underneath here. Now, P9, again, you have to make P9, and it doesn't tell you anything about it whatsoever, where it's got to go. You got to go searching, and even then, it's really hard to see what they're trying to show you or anything, because they don't show you anything. But anyways, it's a 2x2 lime wood. It goes at the end of P8, right, at the bottom of these rails, and comes up. And now what all they do is they tell you to cut it at a certain length. All right, well, that would leave it hanging here, square cut. All right, and of course, being a 2x2, that would hang out below this line, right? So you'd be sticking out. So I sanded mine, trimmed mine and sanded it off so it was flush here, all right? And then I kind of semi-rounded it over because it is a 2x2 square. So it kind of comes to a point at the point here. And then, yeah, I just kind of smoothed it out, rounded it over, and made it look good. And then flattened these ones out, make sure they were flush, right? So again, they don't show you nothing, they don't tell you nothing, and this is kind of where this kit, and I don't know if all OcCre is like this, or I'm sure there's many other kits that do the same thing. A lot of great pictures, but they should have shown maybe an up-close picture of this to say, hey, this is where it actually goes, what it's supposed to look like, this is how you shape it. You know, even if they put instructions in, because there's no instructions whatsoever on these two parts, okay? But that's why I'm here, and I'm showing you and trying to tell you. That's why, you know, some of these videos are a little longer. Now, P10 is this piece right here. I don't know if you can see that, but P10 is this little wood piece right here. It's got a bit of a hole dip in it. Again, I'll show you on the PDF after. But that one, you got to pre-bend it because it is curved. Don't cut it first. I made the mistake. I cut one and tried to get it in there, and trying to soak that, heat that, and bend it is a pain in the butt. So pre-bend it first, then cut it and shape your little dip to it, right? But that's where that goes, right at the end of P8. P8 stops here. All right, P8 stops right there, as you can see, and then it kind of comes around and just sits there. That's P10. Okay, so that's all of that stuff. So other than that, I've started marking out where all these chain plates go, right? So this one's down in the middle. I don't know if you can see that here. So all these little chain plates, right? There's 3 per side. This one is the bow, right? And again, you'll have to do a little bit of shaping because the ship is curved, so we'll have to sand in here a little bit, and that'll sit here on this side. This one here, the longer swoop, There's two swoops, one at each end, but this one's a little bit longer. That goes towards the bow, right? And that one will sit right here. This one's not too bad, but you will have to do a little bit of concave shaping, right? And it sits at the bottom of that rail. So you got this 7mm rail here. It'll be at the bottom of it, okay? Not at the top, not underneath it, but at the bottom on it, okay? And then you have this little guy here, which, let's see if I can move this over far enough. Yeah, this one will sit underneath this upper rail. It'll sit under this rail like that. And again, there is no measurements to tell you where to put these things. So study your pictures closely, and yeah, you'll figure it out for sure. But yes, this one, it goes under this upper rub rail, right? And again, no measurements, so I just kind of centered it so it looked good in this spot, roughly where they have it. And yeah, we'll just go from there. So you got to do both sides like that. I got them marked out and ready to go. So there we go, there's that. So let's head over to the PDF here. Okay, so on the PDF, zoom out just a little. The PDF, so we got these rub rails in, right? And we built this bowsprit support. I don't even know what you call it. But anyways, yeah, I talked about that already. Now again, here they show you those two uprights, right? 97mm for the first one and 64mm at the bottom of it. But again, they kind of show you, but they don't give you any measurement where the second one should be, right? The steps, same thing. They tell you how big to cut these steps, right? They tell you how big to cut them, but they don't tell you exactly where to place them. So you're just going to use your better judgment and say, hey, okay, it looks like it's just a little offset of center from the drain hole, roughly centered between these two medallions right there. So, you know, go by it. You know, same thing it shows you here. You know, it's kind of somewhat centered over that drain hole, you know. So you just got to kind of figure it out, right? And there's what I was talking about, where it wants you to put it on top of the rail. I actually took it and put it above the rail. This one I put there. This one is on top of the rail. On one side I did on top of the rail. I might even take it off because I don't like it. But on the other side I actually put it below the rail. Yeah, so there's your medallions. Again, they don't even tell you that you have to cut a relief for the medallions. They just show you that they're there. If you got the PDF, you're fine. But if you only have the booklet pictures, yeah, you really got to study them. You can see that they are relief cut, right? So you're going to have to do that. You know, like especially down here, they show you it's relief cut. Now there's those two back ones that I was telling you about. Now again, here it's showing that you've got to, you know, putty things up and to smooth it out and stuff. I didn't do that. If you remember, I did my planking all the way up. And this one here, I used big chunks of wood, so I don't have those layers like the parts that you're actually supposed to use. Now, I got that installed, and again, here's P8. Here's one that shows you here, and here's P9 and P10. Right, so P10, that's what it looks like. Again, remember, pre-shape it and then cut it to your length and stuff, right? Now I've got these rails somewhat made already. Here's P23, which is that front rib. And again, you can just barely see that it stops at the bottom, and here they're curved. But there is no instructions telling you that, right? Again, not a very good angle here. The two rear ones. You know, and same thing back here. You could zoom in, but if you only have the booklet, you can't zoom in, so get yourself a magnifying glass. Most definitely. But here you got the P20 up front, 20, 21, and your 22 at the back, and those are your chain plates, right? So yeah, I had to go looking. There's, like I said, there's a little bit of P8 and 10, little piece of P9. P9 there, but you can't really see. It looks like it's beveled. All right, so you gotta go searching and searching. Again, there's P8, And that shows you pretty good right there that P8 sits on top of that rail, right, against the hull, but above that rail there's a bit of P9. You know, same over here, a little bit of a view, but it's not the best picture of P9 or anything like that. You know, so then you come down here again, there's a little bit of P9, P8, you know, so I mean, you got to really look around to see what's going on and where, right? Because they really don't give you any clear indication, no instructions to tell you exactly where it goes. Again, a little bit right here for P10, P8, and P9, you know, but P9 is now behind the figurehead, so you can't really see the end of it. So, you know, at the angle that they show you, same thing down here. You know, so it's up to your judgment. Do what you can, try to figure it all out, and yeah, I mean, there's even things like this here. When we come to this, here it's, again, no written instructions whatsoever, right? But you got a 1.5 millimeter hole. It tells you to drill a bunch of them. It does not tell you how far apart you need to drill these holes. Then there's these pieces here. It says cut them. Okay, cut them to what length? Okay, so I'm assuming once you have this is trying to tell you that you're going to have to cut them, right? And you're going to cut these to what these lengths are needed, right? So now you're going to go to your cut sheet, and it'll tell you that Q14 is whatever length, 13 is whatever length, right? And so on and so on. But again, it does not tell you how far apart these holes need to be. You come over to these posts, right? It's telling you that you need to carve in a groove to make the top of your post, right? But it does not tell you how far down that groove needs to be. It doesn't tell you if it needs to be a 30-degree angle, 40-degree angle, 45, nothing, right? So yeah, you got to make all these little grooves here, and yeah, I guess just take a guess at what you want it to look like, right? Same thing here. There's holes that need to be drilled. I don't know if these are pre-cut or not, so don't go by that. But over here you can see there's 1 millimeter holes that need to be drilled. It doesn't say how far down from this notch. It doesn't say how far apart. All right. There's little pegs here that have to be put in. So obviously there's another hole here that has to be drilled. It's not even telling you to drill. You just got to guess at it, I guess. Same thing here. There's 4 holes and a single one to the side. It's a 1 millimeter hole. Doesn't tell you where to, you know, exactly to put them. Same thing down here. 8 mil beveled. I'm assuming this is probably a 5x5 post, you know, 5x5 piece of wood. So are you to leave 1 mil or 2 mil flat top here? All right, it doesn't tell you. So use your best judgment, make it look good. You know, and that's about all I can tell you. I can tell you what I do when I do it, but aside from that, I mean, OcCre needs to step up just a little bit more in, say, the pictures are great, but maybe have more written instructions saying, hey, look at this, you know, when you're building Q25, the 1 millimeter holes are this far from the end and this far apart lengthwise and this far apart widthwise. You know, same thing. When for Q24, drill a hole at, you know, 5, 10 millimeter, whatever it is, and go all the way through. You know, it doesn't even tell you what size of hole you need to do. All right, same thing here. When you're building Q11, when you're drilling out the holes for Q11, 12, 13, 14, whatever, using the 1.5 mil, make the holes at, you know, 5 mil apart. You know, then it's like, okay, the post, same thing, Q17, Q18, when beveling the tops, start your bevel at 8 mil down, whatever, use a V groove 45, you know, make your post bevel at, you know, 15-degree angle, whatever, you know. So this is where it's lacking. So I'm going to try and give you as much information as I can as I build it, making what I think looks good, and hopefully you can use those same measurements or do it yourself, right? Up here, where's these rails? Right here, P11 and P12, right? P11 is one piece, not a big deal, but P12 are a bunch of 5mm pieces that they want you to glue in. Now, that's probably fine and dandy. You could do some wood filler and stuff on that after, make it look good. I'm going to try and bend that curvature into a piece and see if I can make it as a single piece, right? If not, I'll do it as they say to do. But yeah, I've got most of these rails pre-made. I still got to do all this curving and stuff and this and that. So, but yeah, that'll be in the next video. So that's where I'm going to leave you with. We'll go back to the bench here. So yeah, like I said, here's all those rails that are ready to go. I got to carve them and stuff like that, and this and that. But as for this video, I know this one's pretty long. I probably blabbled on long enough at this segment, but I'm just trying to show you what you're going to run into, what problems I found, and the struggles I was doing, and I don't want you to have them. You know, if some of this can help you out, that's why I'm here. So, with all of that, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that bell notification, make sure that all notifications are turned on, so you don't miss out on anything, right? Definitely go check out my Instagram, my Facebook group. Links for them are down in the description. Again, big thanks to OcCre for sending me this ship and a bunch of the other stuff, like the paints and everything else, and the dyes, right? The workstation to work with. I mean, thank you very much for that. You know, and they sent it for me to build and display for you guys. So go check them out. Link for them are down in the description. I'm sure there's a ship there or some tools and stuff that'll aid you in building your ships. As far as the problems that I'm having, this is not isolated to OcCre whatsoever. This is through all of them. Literary, whatever. I mean, even plastic models have these problems, right? Now you're going to have them a little more so with the wood because you got to make all your parts, whereas the plastic injection moldings, I mean, they're already done for you. You just glue it together, right? So this is not just a complaint to OcCre. This is a complaint to all wood ship manufacturers. Please go through, listen to your builders and say, you know, fix the issues that we come up with, like these lack of instructions and stuff. It's just going to help us. It's going to make your guys' products better, because the beginner modeler trying to do this, I mean, they probably shouldn't be doing this one, but it's not that hard to do. But if you've got all the proper pictures, I mean, your pictures are great in these. Word instructions are lacking quite a bit, I find. But if you have proper word instructions and proper pictures to go with everything, it doesn't matter if you're a beginner, an amateur, or, you know, a professional. Anybody will be able to do it. And that's what we want. We want everybody to be able to build these ships or any type of model whatsoever, right? We want them to do this. So listen to your builders, listen to the people that are building your products, and take that information and use it. It's not a bad thing. Don't take it as a bad thing. Take it as a, hey, help us out by giving this much more information, right? And I want to see young builders getting into this, or even older builders that have never done this stuff before. I want to see them doing it. So if I can jimmy rig or help in some way to give information that may not be on these kits right now, maybe in a revised edition, all this information can be put in there. You know, for now, I'm trying to help and still have a great product, right? This is a great product. The wood is good. The wood sizes are accurate. The laser cutting is great. You know, all that stuff is good. You know, so yeah. But anyways, I'm going to leave you with that. Definitely go check them out. Go check out my links below. If you want to help out in any way, I do have the PayPal me link. I do have the join button, and I do have the merch button. So go check all that out. That helps me out a big time. Yeah, so with all that, just keep pecking away at it. Do your best. Make it look the way you want it. And until next time, later.